Joining us now is Eric Farnsworth. He is the Vice President of the Americas Society and the Council of the Americas. I guess you could look at this two ways. Perhaps the president showing a great deal of courage going at this time. Others might say, no, he's rubbing salt in the wounds of the people who are still trying to get over this period. Or is it a mixture of both?
Well, maybe a mixture of both. I think, truthfully, as somebody who used to work at the White House, it might just be a scheduling issue, and that they're trying to make the best of a situation that's probably an unfortunate coincidence in terms of having the president there on the 40th anniversary. But you did see him make some very concrete acknowledgments, and some of the things he said about the divisive nature of the dirty war in Argentina, and the difficulty and the place that maintains in Argentina, as well as some steps that the United States could take to try to help heal those wounds. The declassification of some intelligence and military files. Certainly he paid homage, along with President Macri, to the victims of the dictatorship. So he has certainly gone very far to try to show deference to that very difficult time.
You mentioned President Macri. Before he went down there, he talked about the predecessor, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, and said she was very anti-American. But that sentiment is kind of in the region. I mean, you're in the region a lot. What happened in Argentina during the Cold War, not unlike what happened in Chile with the Allende, there's still some lingering resentments down there. Did this trip going to Cuba and Argentina, do you think that maybe they turned the page, that the U.S. turned the page in its relationship with the region?
Well, that's certainly the intent and the desire, and particularly with reference to Argentina. I mean, this is a country that has just emerged from 12 years of Kirchnerismo to a president who is explicitly trying to take the country in a different direction, and to have a presidential visit for the first time on a bilateral basis since 1997 from the United States so early in his term. I mean, this is an acknowledgement from Washington that things are changing and that the relationship could be stronger, and really both countries want to work to make that stronger relationship. So from my perspective, I think it's a very positive step. I think most Argentines agree with that.
Talk to me about the region, because this is one change in one country, but there are still lingering resentments in other areas. Venezuela obviously comes to mind. How does the U.S. kind of navigate that relationship? Because, and also maybe in context, China has now moved into the region, and it seems like they're accepting him with open arms.
The U.S. relationship with Latin America is always complicated, and we have to remember that Latin America is not one uniform location. I mean, each country is different, regions are different, and the United States has different histories with some of those different regions and countries. But by and large, the region is seeing a shift from a populist economic model in some of the countries that you mentioned to a more centrist model, a more pragmatic model. Leaders are being elected who really are seeing that there is value to relationship with the United States, not just economically, but also politically. It's not to say that China's entrance into the region is going to now be diminished in some way. It's not. But I think some leaders are recognizing that maybe they've gone too far. Maybe they've tried to keep the United States too much at arm's length. And really, we can be partners in certain areas, and frankly, very good partners. I think this is the nature of the president's trip.
Let me ask you about the dynamic in the region, because Cuba, the trip to Cuba, prior to his arrival, just before it, in fact, the Venezuelan president, Maduro, was there. Venezuela and Cuba have this relationship. Now the U.S. moving in. I mean, does this kind of upend the cart in a sense?
Well, it may. We have to see that. But the truth of the matter is, many people in Latin America have applauded the president's initiative. It is changing the dynamic in a positive way, and people are recognizing, I think, that the United States really is trying to reach out, put its best foot forward, and be a friend and a partner with the region. Actions are following the rhetoric, and I think people are recognizing that.
Eric Farnsworth, always a pleasure having you on the broadcast. Thanks for coming in.